Hey folks, I'm Chris and I'm your Commander Mechanic, and welcome to the Final Fantasy XMTG Commander Roundtable. I am joined by a fantastic panel of all new, brand new faces for this session, and we are going to talk everything about Final Fantasy and Magic the Gathering, and we're going to gush about our favorite games and our favorite cards, all for a good cause. I do want to remind everybody that tonight is a charity roundtable. We will be raising donations for the Trevor Project. You can hit Command Donate in chat right now and donate in $5 increments because we will be giving away some prizes at the end of tonight's event to some lucky donators. At $50, we'll be giving away an Infinitokens prize pack, Infinitokens, savior of Magic the Gathering during the pandemic, as well as the very vaunted and coveted Final Fantasy Commander decks. We'll be giving away a few of them when we reach some donation points in tonight's event. So please give generously. The Trevor Project is a fantastic cause, and we want to support them with everything that we can. So please give as much as you can, as often as you can. We will also be doing Q&A at the end of tonight's session. You can use the channel Redemption Ask a Question to highlight your question in chat so we can make sure to get to your question for our panel. Without further ado, I do want to introduce tonight's guests. Absolutely thrilled to have all of you here. Thank you very much. Let's swing it around the horn and have everybody introduce themselves. First up is cosplayer extraordinaire. It's PeachyPop. Peachy, who are you? Where can we find you? And more importantly, what is your favorite Final Fantasy game?
Yeah, hello. I am Peachy of PeachyPop Cosplay. I do all kinds of stuff. I do a lot of cosplay stuff. I play a lot of games. I've been doing some streaming and such, and you can find me pretty much everywhere where there is game content to be had. I can drop my link tree somewhere around here, unless someone has that ready. But I'm all over the place. I do a lot of stuff on TikTok also. But yeah, gosh. So here's the thing: is I'm a middle Final Fantasy fan. I'm not as obsessed with all of them yet, but I'm getting there. I'm working my way through all of them. So I had listed my favorite one as 5, and I really do like 5 quite a bit. But I kind of picked it because I just generally really like the old school, the pixel era. I like those a lot, and just because I tend to play a lot of older games and all that type of stuff. So I picked 5 for mine. Yeah, that's where I'm at, and you can also, I'll be at MagicCon Vegas, I'll be at all kinds of stuff, so you can find me pretty much anywhere you're looking.
Amazing. Well, welcome, Peachy. Looking forward to speaking with you tonight and joining the panel. Thank you very much. Next up is internet personality. You know him, you love him. It's Jesse Cox. Jesse, welcome. Why don't you let us know who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite Final Fantasy is?
Internet personality was the nicest way to introduce me.
I could have said a lot about some of your voice acting roles, specifically out of Cyberpunk, which is where I might know you best. So
I'm not going to get into that role. Just Google it and you'll figure it out. Hey, everyone. I'm excited to be here and talk Final Fantasy and Magic. Longtime fan of both. And more importantly, just a guy who does way too much on the internet. Streaming, YouTube, podcasts, all sorts of stuff. To simplify it, I just have one of those link trees, and it's jessecox.com. So go there, and you can see it all. Favorite Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy VI, best game ever made in the history of video games. It is so very good. So we'll leave it at that.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, Jesse. Looking forward to the conversation. Next up is toy magnate and good friend of the show. It's Alex Kess Kessler. Kess, how are you? Why don't you let us know who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite Final Fantasy is?
Yeah, wait, is it magnate, not magnet? Have I been saying it wrong my whole life? Hi, I'm Alex Kessler, Kess Wiley, or Kess. I am the founder and president of Kessco and Kess Entertainment. We are like a games design firm. We do a Sonic the Hedgehog board game, Hunter x Hunter board game we just released. We also do big foam dice. We also have a toy company side so we make the largest manufacturer of toy hoops, like the hula hoop kind of type toy, and play balls and all this stuff. If you buy that type of stuff at like a Target or Walmart or a Michael's, we probably made it. And then I have been making Magic content for as long as I've been an adult, basically. I started with a show called Top Decking, and then me and Ben Bateman had a podcast called The Masters of Modern or the MM Cast for years. And now I primarily am making content on TikTok. I'm on Blue Sky, Instagram, probably TikTok and Instagram the most. I have a link tree. I can post it using the power of copy and paste. Bam. And Final Fantasy IX is my favorite Final Fantasy. It's the best video game of all time. Jesse. But I don't know. I think there's some truth to the statement that the first Final Fantasy you play is probably your favorite Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy IX was at least the first one I beat. I definitely sat behind Matt Ree in the 5th grade watching him play through 7 and 8, and then 9 was the one that I was able to buy opening night and play myself. And I've loved them. I played the whole era, most of the eras. I haven't played a lot of 14 onward. Just from a lifetime point of perspective, but everything before that definitely I've played a ton of. And then and yeah, Final Fantasy IX has the character. Well, so fun facts about Final Fantasy. Well, I guess we can get into that. That'll be fun.
we'll get into that. We will gush more about the games.
We don't have to do that now. I make board games, Magic content, and have been on the internet longer than one should.
Amazing. Kess, welcome. Happy to have you tonight. And lastly, but not leastly, we have Jordynne. You might have seen her in the Loading Ready Run space, but MTG Sickly in other spaces. Jordynne, welcome, my friend. Why don't you let everybody know who you are, where we can find you, and what your favorite Final Fantasy is?
Yeah, so as Chris said, my name is Jordynne. I am an editor, sometimes writer, sometimes personality for Loading Ready Run. You mostly see me through sarcastic comments in videos that I edit, but I am also available on Blue Sky at Sickly, but the L is a 1. And my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy X, because I very vividly remember being a child and my stepfather and I buying my mother a PS2 and Final Fantasy X, and her just like sobbing her face off. And it's got a lot of feelings. I love being emotionally devastated. I love highs. I love lows. I can't hear Xanarkand without crying. And that's good enough for me. I know it's got its flaws, but I love it.
Amazing. Jordynne, happy to have you tonight. Thank you for joining us. And my personal favorite Final Fantasy, a lot of people's introduction to the series, it is Final Fantasy VII. And my personally first introduction to JRPGs in general as well, which is one of the reasons why I think of it so fondly, because it got me hooked on the genre. And of course, absolute classic to this day. A lot of people will say it is their favorites and it is their first. I think to that point, a lot of people's first Final Fantasy is their favorite Final Fantasy. So absolutely love it. And we are here to talk about the series and talk about its Magic the Gathering translation here. How do the peanut butter and the chocolate merge into this Final Fantasy inspired set? And the first thing that I want to ask and I want to throw around the table is Final Fantasy has a lot of themes that run through it throughout its different games, a lot of running gags, a lot of common crossover themes, despite their stories being in disparate spheres. What is everybody's favorite running theme or running gag throughout the Final Fantasy series? Is it the fact that there is always a Biggs and Wedge or a Sid in every single game? That hands down has to be one of my favorites, is that there is always a Sid in every single game. I love that there are these homages to other pieces of media as well, like Biggs and Wedge out of Star Wars happens to be in every single Final Fantasy. But what do we think? What's everybody's favorite running gag? Jordynne, why don't we hear yours first?
Sure. So I wrote 3 because I knew that Sid was going to come up immediately. So I was like, I need backups. I've got a list. I'm prepared. I'm always a big fan when the angsty, brutal protagonist has a weather name. I just think that's cute. I'm very cultured, so every time Shiva is in one of my games, I'm happy. That I've never felt the envy of the inability to snap my fingers more than her in Final Fantasy X with the slow snap. I'm just like, that's like the coolest thing in the world. So yeah, those are 2. I cheated.
No, amazing, and good callbacks. I think things like the materia and the summons is a great running theme throughout, as you see some of the same ones pop up throughout the entire series. Absolute classics. Jesse, how about you? Some of your favorite running themes or gags throughout the series?
Sure, I love when they bring back enemies, and they bring it back in a way that you know. So, for example, a Tonberry, you know when you see one, run. Just get out, get away. Everyone knows that. You learn it, and you need to go away. And I think that's very clever on their part because, yeah, he's just a cute little guy.
Just what's
He's never done anything wrong.
It'll be the last boop you ever have.
Yeah.
But I think that's great because not only from like a gameplay standpoint does it make it easier, you don't have to keep coming up with things to kill, but more importantly, it sort of sets the tone. Like everyone who plays them understands what it is and what to do with it. And I think that's very clever on their part. So I love that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that there are some real stalwarts of the series in terms of enemies that pop up across every series that, yeah, you can kind of set your watch to, which is fun. And it's learned behavior across series as well, right? It's one of those, you show a picture in a classroom and everybody knows it's a duck and cover kind of scenario, right? Awesome. Peachy, how about you? Favorite of your themes throughout Final Fantasy?
Yeah, so my experience with Final Fantasy is kind of odd because I've played just kind of a random smattering of them in a completely random order. I played like 1 and 2, and then I jumped to like 5, and then I played like half of 7, and then I did all of 10, and then I went back. I'm all over the place, so I don't have as much of a chronological connection to everything of like, oh, that was a callback, I remember, because I played them really randomly, but I've been playing a lot of catch up on the games I missed lately, and my favorite thing that I've been learning about is all of the like little mistranslations and things for a lot of the older games, and like how that has excuse me, how that has become like a ubiquitous meme like in just video gaming in general, and then you trace it all back to like Final Fantasy. Like I know there was like the eye garland will knock you all down, and like the you spoony bard thing and all that. Like those are all things that are so funny to learn about now because, you know, again, I'm kind of playing everything out of order and all that stuff. So they're all like little chunks of video game history, and they've all been really interesting to really see like how much those games have really impacted, and you know how those things have just become ubiquitous over time.
Absolutely memeified from the early days of video gaming, right?
Oh yes.
Perfect. Kess, how about you? Some of your, and of course, Chris throws up the suplex a train in the card references as well, which is another fantastic one too. But Kess, how about you? Favorite of your running themes or gags from Final Fantasy?
Yeah, I think, and like this was mentioned, so I'll put 2 out the cheat, but like just summons in general, I think like summoners as a class, the idea of and like how like Bahamut is reinterpreted in every single one, and the origins of that, how Shiva is, how Ifrit is, how Alexander is, you know, all of that is something that's always been mesmerizing within the game. But I think like as far as a joke goes, because I think that's not funny, that's not a running joke, but the running joke one is that just every one of these games is a bunch of teenagers get like convinced by some old guy to kill God. A bunch of messy people, you know, just end the universe by the end of every one of these games is great. I love that about the franchise.
Yeah, it's a classic formula for these games, and the fact that we've seen it dozens of times throughout main games and side games now is a staple. It's again the Final Fantasy archetype is a bunch of messy people try and end the world. Bunch of teenagers try and kill God. Perfect. How about some of our favorite characters from the Final Fantasy series? Do we have any standout single characters from the series that we would have liked to have seen in the set, or that made it into the set? And if they are your favorite character and they made it into the set, how did they translate into a card? Do you think that they represent the character? It's hard to distill down somebody that you spend hours and hours playing with in a game down into a single magic card, but was it done, and was it done well? Kess, how about you? Favorite character? Did they make it into a card, and is that card a good representation of them?
All right. So first, I would like to request a Final Fantasy X order of who's going bar on the top left that we can use based on to go earlier or later, because it's all over the place. I really like a plan here and know when my turn's coming up and be able to select the right menu item. Luckily, this one's easy. So Vivi is my favorite character. Has been from the beginning. I've named my daughter after him. And her name's Vivian, but we go Vivi. Also Princess Phoebe for One Piece. It was a combo. And then, yes, he's in the set, and they did a really good job. I think he's the best card in the set, maybe. Or definitely what everyone's talking about. I guess my one worry is he might be too good, and if I want him to be my commander, I'm going to have a bunch of people groaning at be sitting at the table with him. So I'm going to become like, no, it's not like other VV decks, or I'm just going to build him as CDH and just be able to do the thing, because that's the one issue, I think. But he blows people up, but he's a cute little guy and he's helpful. And those are all things that his card is doing. Yeah, so I guess easy answer. Easy answer is yes. He's right there. He's doing great.
Amazing.
I will say, I guess my one small secondary caveat is Garnet's my second favorite from the set. I do wish and I noticed because Prof, the Tulare Community College, previewed Garnet, and then in the video watch, he was like, oh, why is he using all specific summons that aren't her summons? None of the summons that she actually has, because in Final Fantasy IX, Aiko and Garnet each have their own summoning pools, and specifically the summons they used in the video and how you would build Garnet were either not from Final Fantasy IX or summons that she didn't have. And then afterwards, I'm going to make it. And it's literally all of her summons are not in her colors. They're all blue and red. And Alexander's on the backside of a card. So I wish she was Jeskai, because then you could play most of the Final Fantasy IX characters together. I wish just in general, especially for the Final Fantasy that didn't get commander sets, that they gave them
wedges or shards,
a wedge or a 3-color card that encompassed as many of the characters as possible. Mm-hmm. Even though I know the Bant sub theme for and the green white sub theme for the enchantment stuff that's going on is why for the actual game we're playing is there. But I wish there was a Jeskai Garnet that could handle the whole, or a Final Fantasy IX character that could just be all of them. And what I might do is just try and convince people that a Rule Zero Vivi and Steiner combo is allowed, because it says on the card they have partner with. It's right there.
Oh, perfect. Jesse, how about you? Favorite character? Did they get a card, and does that card represent them?
Well, first off, I just have an art one that I'm thrilled exists, which is the fact that they have Ultros in this is hilarious to me. I love a perverted octopus who is just a pain in the ass to everyone in an entire game. It's hilarious. The card it's fun, but I just like the idea that he's there. It's very cool. I will say the best card though, and the fact that it exists, and it is one of those whoever made the card and also did the art clearly understood the assignment, and that's Xenosia Galvis from Final Fantasy XIV. If you're in on the Final Fantasy XIV world and you know who this character is, literally the most anime character who ever exists. His whole point is, I hate you so much, I will go to the ends of the universe to kill you and kill everything else in the way. I hate you that much. But also, you're the only friend I ever had. So, I love you, but I have to kill you. That kind of vibe. And so the card's amazing because obviously when you flip it over and he transforms into Shinryu, it's one of the best. When the chosen player, you pick a player, when the chosen player loses the game, you win. Like, that's just so much fun. It's an absolutely perfect example of who Xenos is as a character written into the actual card. It's fantastic. I was so thrilled when I saw that. I was like, yes, they nailed it. So very thrilled. Love that.
Love it. It is clear that the team that worked on this set are lovers of the games and the series. And I think that this is a great example and encapsulation of that, because I saw a lot of folks call out the same thing. They understood the assignment on this one. So absolutely fantastic here. Good call out on this one. Jordynne, how about you? Favorite character from Final Fantasy, and did they get a card? How did that card represent them?
Well, she didn't, but that's fine because people hate Dirge Cerberus. Shout out to my homegirl, Lucrezia. You deserved a card, baby girl. You deserve the world. You deserve everything. Oh, I'm so sorry. But again, I have 3 other options, and I will be quick with them. I love Quistis. Quistis is the woman of all time. I am upset that her card is blue because I don't like blue, but it does suit her. The vibe is very accurate. We Loading Ready Run got to do the Reno and Rude preview card, which is, I cried when it showed up in our Dropbox. I think the vibe is really solid for these two because they're both little shits, and as they deserve. But I have to
hear the Turks theme just looking at the card.
Okay. Right. But I do have to take the podium of my Blorbos that got a card. Oren, Team Dad. My my Facebook cover photo for the past 14 years has been a paternity has ended with Jacked. Oren is my new dad picture. And I love that all of the cards involving him are just all about boosting up other stuff and being a solid mentor and graveyard stuff. And I'm just Dad, love him. He's the best.
Amazing. Yeah, good, great call outs again. Once again, showing that Gavin and the design team on the set 100% understood the assignment with how well some of these cards are represented. Again, it's tough to get a character distilled down into a single card, and there are some characters that received multiple cards to represent them too, but for the characters that got just a single card, absolute home runs here for sure. Peachy, how about you? Favorite character? Did they get a card, and how well does that card represent them?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up to Jesse's thing about Xenos. I don't know much about 14, but I have a friend, David. My hands are blank on social medias, but he's he's my 14 guy. He's big into 14, and we were kind of talking about the stuff that we had opened because we got the ambassador stuff and all that. And Xenos kept on being the rare in 6 packs in a row. So I was like, David, who is this guy? I was like, God, this guy just keeps showing up. I can't get rid of him. He goes, you don't know how funny that sentence is, actually. He's like, you have no idea how completely accurate that is. Oh, but so we have 6 or 7 of just him. He will not leave us alone. But for me, again, my history with the game is very, very random. So I had kind of a couple of different favorites. I was hoping that my girl Ferris would get a card. I love strong, bull-headed, pink, purple-haired girls. Could you imagine why? But yeah, Ferris, she's on Coral Sword. She exists on Coral Sword's art only, but I was really hoping that she would get a card. But as a backup for that, we do love Tifa. She is also a baddie, and she got 2, 3 different cards. She got a bunch of different versions, and they're all bangers at different tiers and all that. And I was also happy to see. I mean, of course, Lightning would get one too. She's also mean pink-haired girl. So we got a good spread of them. I was hoping to see Ferris, but I'll take what I can get. So I know all of the Pixel games and stuff are. There's much less to go around, and then all of the games after have so many characters to get through. So, I'm glad she at least made it onto Coral Sword. So she got Pink Sword. I'm pretty happy with that.
Awesome. Yeah, again, some great call outs here, some fantastic cards. I do like that cards, some characters got supporting cards for them as well, not just their legend card, but like with Tifa, you get Tifa's limit break in the set too, and you get characters' iconic equipment in the set as well. Just like some real solid callbacks to playing these characters and playing these games, that for anybody that has had any experience with these games for as long as they've run, I think everybody has played some of these games. There is something in this set that will scratch that itch for you, which is incredible. Speaking of incredible, I want to say thank you, everybody, for your donations so far. We've already crossed the $300 mark, not even a half hour into today's session. So thank you all very much. As the donations continue rolling in, please be sure to hit that command donate in chat and donate in $5 increments. You will be entered to win prizes at the end of today's session. As of right now, we are already giving away an Infinite Tokens prize pack, one of the Commander Precons, and by the looks of it, in just another donation or two, a second Commander Precon as well. So continue to keep it rolling in. You are supporting the Trevor Project tonight, a fantastic cause, and here in Pride Month, a cause that absolutely needs your support as well. So please do keep it rolling. Thank you, everybody out there, for your generosity so far. All right, so folks, we talked about some of our favorite Final Fantasy characters. We talked about some of our favorite Final Fantasy games. Let's talk more about the set itself. First of all, I want to ask everybody, how do you feel about the volume of cards in this set? I don't know about you, but it felt like a very long preview season for this set, as there was a lot of cards to get through between the main set, the commander decks, and the bonus sheet for the entire set. There are hundreds and hundreds of these cards that we get to enjoy with this set. Is it too much? Is it too much to encapsulate all of the Final Fantasies in a single set? Would you have rather seen these sets broken out into multiple sets? Would absolutely love to hear from our panelists. Kess, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's a few things, right? I think with Universes Beyond, they feel like there's more in this set because every card matters more. Like we were just talking about, right? Like a random uncommon that in Dragons of Tarkir would be something I would never even think about ever in life is the Gunblade in this set. And I could tell you hours and hours of content of why that's important to me. And so like when you're doing a Universes Beyond set, especially when you care about, your attention focuses on way more of what's going on than you normally would be, because like someone tells you like, oh, this random thing is my favorite moment on my framing game, and it's a pump spell that you're never going to play in your life. And so like in some ways that's really cool. Like that's why I love this, is like I care now about every card and I get to see every card matter or every moment matter. But on the other half, it's like, okay, overwhelming maybe. I don't know, because Lord of the Rings had a bonus sheet as well, and commander sets, right? I think this has the same amount of total product as the Lord of the Rings set, except I think it doesn't have a collector booster box coming out before December, but it does have holiday boxes. So I've been told, because people are telling there's a chance that Amaranth and Ico or other like the characters that didn't make it from 8 might make it there. I guess it did have a secret layer is the one big difference maybe. But beyond that, it does feel in general, the biggest reason that like in some ways it feels overwhelming is just like every card matters in a way that like most of the time you can ignore 75% of a set that's released because it's just cards you won't play and they're not characters you care about, so it's not as big of a deal. But you have a lot more here.
Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal point, is that even the commons and uncommons that would normally be glossed over in a set are important to people. Like Ride the Shoe Buff was an uncommon that came out that everybody was like,
right.
Yeah, my favorite.
Like, Puff posting, let's go.
Yeah, right. And it's one of those, like, in a normal Magic set, this would be glossed over as an above average uncommon. But here it is someone's favorite moment from a game, and it deserves its own kind of spotlight. Absolutely love to see it. I think that is what made the preview season for this set feel a lot longer and a lot more extended, is that everybody was looking forward to every card.
I think the one, like, I would love for this set to get a follow-up, but just commander product. Like, I think like the other Final Fantasies that didn't get commander decks, or maybe you get tactics thrown in there or whatever. I think that's something like if we got tactics 9 or like tactics plus 12, like Evilist, like because they're both on the same planet, 9, like 1 through 3, which are so similar to each other, and 15 or 16, whichever of the most modern era we think is going to have the largest fan or the most can be in a commander deck. Like I think there's a lot of more cards that could be from those individual sets and focused, or you can kind of create more of like the team experience that 10, 9 or 10, 4, 7, and 6 got. I don't know if I ever want another stand. I would love another set. I would love more. I don't know if there's enough to do an entire second set of Final Fantasy. I do think there's enough to get some more commander decks out though. And I think commander sets could be a little bit more separately released.
Yeah, we'd love to see that. Jordynne, how about you? What do you feel about the volume of cards? Does it do justice to everything, or are we spread a little thin here?
I do think like there is no way that they could have made it any smaller and people have not gotten mad. I do think that like this, I would argue this was like the smallest they could go. Because like Kess just said, like you can already think of things that like they missed. Like they didn't get Peachy's favorite character. They didn't get this. They didn't get that. Right? Like there's always going to be, especially with Final Fantasy fans. I love them. I am one. I'm that asshole too. But like there's always going to be the you didn't include this. Like what about the guy from Final Fantasy X that teaches you how to speak Albed? Is he on a card? No. Like, or he might be, and I'm cake on my face. But yeah, I feel like it's like the size that they did was like the only way that they could do it. I am bummed at the unbalanced justice for Final Fantasy II. I get it. There's obviously like a pretty big plot and character disparity, but at the same time, I think maybe if they did it over like 2 releases, like if they did 1 to 8 and then 9 to 16, they could balance stuff out a little bit better, and then also get that Square Enix bag a little bit more. But yeah, no, I'm happy with it. There's always going to be downsides, but there's a lot of upsides too.
Yeah, I think to that point, if we gave every game an equal balance in this, we could have seen an entire year of Magic set releases that were all Final Fantasy, right? Between the mainline games and between the side games, you could have easily have seen 4 sets released this year that were just Final Fantasy product.
I think you could do that just for 14.
Yeah.
Peachy, how about you? What do you think about the volume of cards released this set? Does it seem larger just because there's more care paid to every card here? Or do you think that this could have been spread across multiple sets?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like it's been a long preview season for sure, but I think that kind of like what Kess was saying, that like every card is like a major scene in a game, and it's got all this plot around it. Like, when other sets are previewing, there's like, big returning legendary characters from Magic or whatever, and then we've got like, your draft commons, you got your sword, your boots, your things like that you don't have to spend a lot of time on, but like everybody has like their favorite Final Fantasy, and they have like their character they're rooting for. So I feel like this set release has been very personal to everybody if they want to see their things represented really fairly. I have never played 14 yet. However, I have many friends who've aggressively been recommending it to me, so the day may still come. So for me, as somebody who wasn't familiar with 14, I was like, man, there's a lot of 14. But at the same time, there's a lot of characters in 14. My only 2% gripe about it was there are some characters and like scenes and things that were from earlier games that made a reappearance in 14, and they all got attributed to 14, like as their little code on the bottom. Like what was it? The witch lady that was in 1. Oh gosh, what's her name? Matoya, yes. Because she's in 1 and then she comes back in 14, but they always use the Final Fantasy 14 versions of all of them, and they attribute it to like, this is the 14 character. Yeah. So there's a few of them where I was like, come on, the pixel games, they have so little, I'm like, just put the one on the bottom, let them have Matoya or whatever, so but at the same time, it's like I also see how it couldn't really be much smaller, because again, 14 has tons and tons and tons of characters, and it's a huge giant world instead of like a linear RPG. So I think that they could have done like kind of like what Jordynne was saying, is like one set that's just like 1 through like maybe 1 through 7, 8, somewhere in there, and then kind of the old generation and then the new generation. 14 could probably be half of its own set just by itself. Like, I feel like they could have split it out, but then I feel like there also could have been some like kind of hurt feelings about like, why didn't my favorite game get in the main set? Why is mine just,
Mhm.
I definitely feel for the design team who had to make like the decision of what to cut, how many slots each thing gets. I'm sure it was really, really tough to like, take certain games or characters and say like, oh, this can't get a card, or this one has to go in art, or, stuff like that. So I think it was tough, but I also don't know that there was a better way to do it exactly.
Yeah.
It's so much content to go over. Me and my partner, Cobra MTG, he's a Final Fantasy maniac. He is also in the chat talking about stuff right now. We literally, when the set was coming out, we got out a whiteboard and we're like, all right, let's go through each game and like, what are the absolute have to have these characters? And then we ended up with like 128 legendary creatures or something, of like just the main characters from the main games. It's just so many. So, cuts had to happen somewhere, but I definitely feel like how hard it must have been to balance so much content when you only have so many slots to work with.
Absolutely. I'm sure the design team has a hidden file somewhere at the office of all of the cards that didn't make it into the set that are all like, we have to use these sometime somewhere.
Yeah. They might get relegated to like a secret layer reskin or something. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Jesse, how about you? What do you think about the volume of cards in this set? Does it do the series justice, or is this something that could have been split out across multiple sets?
I mean, I have to agree with what everyone has said so far, because you're absolutely correct. The thing I did when I started going through all the cards was separate them by game. And it's very obvious that 6, 7, 10, and 14 are by far the most cards. And everyone else, like, I put 1, 2, and 3 into one pile, and it was still smaller than Final Fantasy V.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. I'm really curious what the thought process behind the scene was for choosing. Obviously, popularity's huge. 14's very popular right now. 7 is a classic. 6 is tremendously popular. 10 is like the first huge, everyone was like, oh my God, there's voice acting. Like, I get it. I absolutely understand. But I'm curious behind the scenes what they were thinking, or if that was sort of a Square Enix directive, or what kind of happened there. But with that said, yeah, I would love to get cards from the other games, because there's so many other great moments that they simply just could not put in it, or they put on an artifact or on an instant, and you're like, we could have done a lot with that, but you crammed it all into one thing. But with that said, they did add some flavor to things. There's one card, boy, this is not helpful at all to you for finding the card, but it's it's like a crystal card, and it's a very basic, silly card with just like but in the foreground are 4 onion knights, which is such a very funny throwback to that one very specific thing you could do in that game if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. And so things like that I love, but also I'm like, where's my onion knight card?
Yeah, and I think that's a fantastic point as well. If everything were given equal weight, then that's definitely a conscious decision from a design standpoint. But they probably looked at sales numbers for each game and said, which games should we better represent, because they were more well-loved, more well-played, reached a wider audience. Because at the end of the day, this is a set about getting new players into Magic through this Universes Beyond set. The first Universes Beyond set, by the way, that is standard playable as well, which we'll talk about in a second. But Peachy, you had something to add?
Oh yeah, just one other thing that I was kind of considering about like how the decision-making process must go. I wonder how much weight was also put into like how well the mechanics of a character can translate into an existing thing in Magic. Because I'm sure there's certain things that are like, oh, this does like, some cool spell, but like the way that it would translate to Magic wouldn't be like authentic, or wouldn't make sense for Magic, or wouldn't make sense for the source material in Final Fantasy. So I would imagine that probably a lot of that material is also like, I'm sure that's another point on the rubric of how they made cuts of like what translates directly well. Like Gilgamesh is a really good example of a card that I'm like, he searches for equipments. That's awesome. 10 out of 10. And I wonder if there were other cards that were like cut not because they're not popular or anything, but just because they'd be hard to maybe translate into Magic or something like that.
Mechanically, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see the the design docs behind all of that type of stuff.
To be a fly on that wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Release the docs, Gavin. Come on, we need to see the unreleased stuff. I'm sure that is in there sometime in the future when we can make this work. Play file somewhere on their computers. Kess, you had something to add too.
Yeah, I mean, first, just while Gilgamesh is on the screen, I will say that this was the one card they could have made a Planeswalker in this set that they chose not to. I guess it's over here. As he's the only Final Fantasy character that is the same character in the games that he is showing up in.
Yeah, he's literally a Planeswalker.
yeah, he's the literal Planeswalker of Final Fantasy. But okay, but beyond that, I do think some of it, like, to keep it into account is like the release of Final Fantasy in the United States was weird, especially for 2 and 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, where like 4 and 6 came out as 2 and 3 in the US, and 3 didn't get an official release in the United States until the 3D remake on the DS 18 years after it came out. That game is relatively regarded as the hardest Final Fantasy across the board, and so is in itself not very popular. And then just 2 or 3 years ago, 2022, 2023, they released the Pixel Remaster of 3, which is the first time you can like legally buy this game in the United States almost 30 years later. So like some of like from a popularity perspective, most people for 2 and 3 especially are going to just like not know what's in them. And I think if Wizards is looking at that data, like that's, I think, a lot of where that decision gets made. Which is rough because I think from a sales perspective, 3 is actually blows 1 and 2 out of the water from Japan's point of view. It's the thing that made Final Fantasy like a S-class brand. Like Final Fantasy 1 saved Squaresoft. Final Fantasy 2 was like a decent follow-up, but like Dragon Quest was like totally destroying them. And then 3 came out and was like, oh, it saved the company. Like we are now the franchise, and let's hit them with 4, 5, 6. I do think, 14 getting all the jobs in 5 or 3 not getting them was maybe the biggest miss, which like, well, that's where jobs came from. But I think some of it's just like jobs have evolved. Like, Blue Mages aren't in 3, even though that's where jobs kind of came from. And so where do you pick where you represent them? I think it's like 14 just has them all.
Yep. Totally fair. I do think that, again, there are likely a lot of these unreleased cards where in design, they probably said, okay, if we were giving all sets or all games an equal weight, what would we create for them? And they just have like a list, not the full-fledged cards or anything, but here are all the cards we can create from each game. And they just went through with what do we pick out? What is the most iconic out of all of that? They likely have a lot of unused material for sure. Now, I do want to touch on the topic that this is the first Universes Beyond set ever that is standard legal. Right? We might be more Commander players or Modern players here, but what do we think about this being a Universes Beyond set for the first time that is standard legal? Is this something that is going to make this even more in demand than it currently is? And is this something that is going to get even more players into playing that format now that it's legal in it? Do we have any thoughts about this? Jesse, what do you think? Is this healthy that this is a standard legal Universes Beyond set?
I think, if anything, it shows saying power is a weird thing, but the power of the Final Fantasy brand, and that you can get away with this. And me being an extremely biased Final Fantasy person, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool with me. And I get it. And I also understand why this release sold a bunch. Like, it makes plenty of sense to me, and it seems just like smart marketing to do that. And so I completely get it, and I'm totally fine with it. So no complaints here.
Absolutely. I think that this might be one of those factors that contributed to what Wizards is already calling the best-selling set ever. from them. So that's at least an interesting factor here. Kess, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think like Universes Beyond is the best tool, not just right now, but Wizards has ever had in the history of any trading card company existing, period, at bringing fans to their game. And Standard is Magic's onboarded location for tournament play of any variety in Magic, right? Like Modern is really hard to get into, Pioneer is complicated, Commander isn't competitive 1v1, I guess limited, and it's a disconnect to not have your best onboarding tool lead to your best onboarding format. Do I maybe wish like there was like Pioneer was Universes Beyond without, like there was a format you could maybe experience Magic, because there is an audience that doesn't want both? Sure, I think that there could be a home for that somewhere. I'm all in on the Universes Beyond train. I love all of this, but I'm sympathetic to the cause that people don't want that. But I think like it would be silly for something so popular that's going to have a bunch of new players, right? You're going to have beginner players who are jumping in for the very first time playing the set because they love Final Fantasy VII, they love Final Fantasy IX, and especially even more so the people that love the sets that were a little bit deeper cuts. The person whose favorite Final Fantasy is 5, like this is the first time they've ever gotten any merch for their game ever or in 20 years. And so like when they start playing, their choices before this was in Standard was I either play Commander or I have to drop $1,000 on things I don't care about. Those are my two. So I'm just going to play Commander. Now you get to be like, oh, I can make like a Standard deck that's centered around Chocobos, and I could go play an F&M with a Chocobo deck. That's all I want to do. I don't know anything about dragons or whatever. And then at F&M, so I was like, oh, you're playing the bird deck? You really need to get this bird from Bloomborough. Go get it. It's like 2 cents. Like it'll make your deck way better. And then they slowly get onboarded into the environment. I think that's like really powerful. And I think we're going to talk about the cost of things in the next question. So that's my other point in regards to this that I will wait on and let Jesse or Peachy or Jordynne go.
Fantastic. Jesse, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on what Kess was saying. I think it's fascinating that Final Fantasy has a card game and it exists, but
so bad.
Magic is, I mean, I remember playing Magic as a kid in the 90s. So like it's been around. And I think very much like Twitch as an example is kind of, there are a lot of places you can stream, but where the people are is where you want to be. And I think in this case, having, you know, many Final Fantasy card things existing, but bringing it to Magic is huge, and it will bring more and more people to play, just like Lord of the Rings, or if you're a fan of little cutie animals, like you got that. Enjoy, have fun. There's so many cool things you can do. For some reason, you like Assassin's Creed a bunch. There it is too. There's a ton of stuff that is available for you, and I think it's brilliant.
For some reason.
yeah, for some reason. You know, if this was like 12 years ago, we'd have a different conversation. But like, it's definitely one of those things where I think that it's just smart marketing all around. And honestly, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think this might actually be the first time that they got the license for the IP for Arena as well, which is why they're really hyped about making this a standard set, because now you can play Sephiroth in Arena, and that's a great way to onboard people into their digital platform as well. So again, from a marketing standpoint, this is the IV to hook it right into people's veins, as it were.
Real quick, I think Lord of the Rings is on Arena.
It is on Arena?
I believe so.
Unsure. Somebody might correct me on that one.
Yeah, someone in chat confirmed, but I think it is.
It is on Arena. Okay, fantastic. There we go. Peachy, your thoughts on the Final Fantasy set being standard legal?
Yeah. So my background with Magic is also strange in the same way that my background with Final Fantasy is. I played Modern for about 10 years before I started playing Commander, whereas a lot of people that I know start with Commander and then go into other formats from there. So I definitely like have heard the side of the fence that's like, you know, the 60 card, like more competitive formats where like I don't want any of this silly business in my formats and all that stuff. But I feel like since we've been seeing more UB stuff pop into those formats over time, the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters and all of this stuff, and like there's Warhammer cards and all that stuff, I feel like people have warmed up to it a lot and kind of, you know, worked through those feelings of like keeping like 60 card Magic like this Magic only type thing. So I feel like people are kind of warming up to it. And from the other side, like in terms of like bringing in new players and stuff, I talk to a lot of people. I go to a lot of Commander Night stuff. I play with a lot of just completely random people all the time, and so many of them usually I'll ask like, oh, when did you start playing? And like the resounding biggest answer is always, I came in for Lord of the Rings because I love Lord of the Rings, and it was super fun and all that stuff. So like I feel like Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy are both really good sets to introduce to those formats, like both to introduce to Standard and to bring new players in, if it's Standard or Commander or whichever format it is, because they are both franchises that like translate well to Magic. They are both franchises that have, spells and warriors and very high fantasy type themed DNA that makes it easier to move into Magic. So then new players who are coming in go, oh my God, Magic is a complex game. There's so much stuff. I don't even know where to start. But they're like, but I know who Cloud is. I know that he has a sword. Oh, cool. There's the sword. I get it. Like, it gives them this feeling that they have some like baseline knowledge or understanding of like how they think something might work, instead of just being like, go learn all of Magic's lore all at once. Mm-hmm. So I found that a lot of people have really, really grappled onto those sets, Lord of the Rings and Final Fantasy, and even some people I have met who've been like, yeah, I came in during the Fallout set because I love Fallout, and I was like, hell yeah, brother. Yeah. But I think that those sets provide a really good intro point. So I'm curious to see how it'll go for introducing to Standard. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we've kind of worked through a lot of those feelings of like, keeping UB separate from other formats. I feel like it's kind of homogenizing out into one big ecosystem now. So I think they're good jumping off points for people who are just starting for like, Commander, Standard, or whichever. So I see why they work so well.
I think you raised a fantastic point there, in that for a lot of people looking at some of their favorite card representations of their most well-known things from the game, like, oh, I played 7, Cloud's my favorite, I'm going to learn how to play Magic by knowing how his card works, is a fantastic on-ramp into this game. Cloud is a creature. I have to pay this mana for him. This is power and toughness. And people have that additional vector to learning the game through some of their favorites, is why this is such a powerful on-ramp for players into the game in general. Jordynne, your thoughts on this being the first Standard legal Universes Beyond set?
Yeah, so I mean, I am the person that Peachy just talked about, where I started with Commander and then branched out to other things. So I don't have much, especially in terms of things that everybody else on the panel hasn't really said already. But I think coming from a mostly Commander basis, like, you're used to people having an altar of a certain card, and it is Cloud already. So like for me personally, it doesn't really feel that much different than any other sort of set, especially because I'm not one to touch Standard. My notes are literally, Watsy girl, get that bag, who cares?
Perfectly fair. And I think on that note, something else that I want to bring up is that for Commander players in particular, this is an incredibly legend dense release. Between the Commander set and the baseline set, there are no less than 164 new legends across these new cards, which is, I think to some counts, more than all of last year combined. In terms of new legends,
not enough. Where's Amaranth? Where's Ico? Where's Vincent?
This raises an interesting question as well, is that this is a set that is to appeal to Standard players because it is Standard legal, but very clearly in the design and in the very fabric of it being about your favorite characters from your favorite games, needs to be very legend dense. Is this something that is trying to merge the two and appeal to multiple formats in its design? How do we feel about that? And does the legend dense nature of this set harm or improve Standard from a construction and playability standpoint as well? Right? It's harder to play 4 of your favorite card if they're legendary and you can only have one at a time,
Mm.
unless it's Sid, in which case you can have any number. Jordynne, what do you think about this? The mix between being standard legal and very clearly catering to your favorite characters and very legend dense environment.
I mean, I do think that this is kind of a situation where they are trying to like win more. This is a set that's very like, we want everybody to feel a little bit of the juice, and I think they managed to do that pretty well. I don't know, maybe I just follow nice people on the internet, but I haven't felt many like, oh, they're pandering for commander players, they're pandering for these players, that players, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows, maybe I just follow good people. And the block button is free. Do it, use it, it's the best. But yeah, I mean, for full transparency, I haven't played a game of Magic since in 3 years or something like that. So all of my Magic like thought process and stuff is purely from the physical content creation side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So discourse about playability, I'm just like, I mean, just if the cards are good, the cards are bad, and that's all that I really care about.
Perfectly fair.
Yeah.
Jesse, how do you feel about this being a standard set that very clearly is leaning into the legend heavy nature of other formats?
I mean, I guess, again, there's like a weird, I'm completely totally biased because of Final Fantasy, and that's my jam. So like, no matter what, I'm going to be like, yes, we're good. It's fine. But also having played for as long as I have, just the nature of Magic continues to change. And so it would be very hypocritical to be like, I mean, like way back when it was, you know, black lotuses and flaming orbs and jewels of some sort and summoning demons. And then slowly there were planeswalkers and there's one, like, it changes over time. And to be like, well, it's not my Magic, like that's, I mean, you're right. It's not, it keeps changing. That's how it works. That's how they still have a company and can still sell cards.
Yeah, totally fair. I think you do need to find that overlap in the Venn diagram between formats here to appeal to your player base. And that's clearly what's happening here. Peachy, how do you feel about this being a standard set that very clearly is very legend and commander dense from a potential standpoint?
Yeah, it's tough because I don't play a lot of standard, and in fact I don't play any standard. But I have played non-commander formats for a long time, so I definitely get the gripes for people who feel like, you know, that they feel like their format is being like pushed to the back so that commander can be the big stage show, you know. And while commander is like super popular, I totally do get why like a lot of those people feel that way about like seeing commander stuff showing up in other sets and stuff. Like that was a big point of contention when Nadu Winged Wisdom was printed, because it was originally, you know, supposed to be, it's kind of like a commander insert, and then it blew up modern. There's a whole thing. So I think people are still a little sensitive for reasons like that. So I might have liked to see like kind of a more focused like a commander set, and then like a main set maybe, you know, kind of like there was like the D&D Baldur's Gate one where they had like Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, and then they had AFR and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like it could be split out. It feels like we're just, you know, they have to make a lot of people happy and a lot of things happen with a limited amount of slots. And the things that make one group happy can make the other group feel bad. So it's again, it's tough. And I feel for the people who have to make those decisions and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't say from a standard perspective, but I definitely see why people are a little bit sore about it. Yeah, maybe splitting them out is a solution, but I couldn't say myself.
Jesse, your thoughts?
Just really quick, I guess like a question to the group. Do you think that combining everything into all one big release is their way of, if you're new, different ways to play are confusing. And then separating those is even more confusing. So by cramming everything into one, you're kind of like, oh, I didn't even know this was a thing I could do. And then you go down the rabbit hole, versus if they're separate, then you have to really understand what you're doing before you even buy something.
Yeah, that is a concern for sure.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think letting people find the format that they're interested in is incredibly valid too. You know, hey, I found this card. I love this card. Oh, it's good in standard. I'm going to start playing standard. Or, oh, hey, this legend is my favorite. I'm going to build a commander deck around them. Letting people find their format is very organic. Definitely.
I also know a lot of people who are just going, I like Cloud. I'm just going to buy the Cloud single.
Yes.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people did that for Fallout because I'm really involved with the Fallout community too, like separate from Magic. And I know so many people that were like, "Where can I get the Fallout Magic cards? I just want them to have them. I want them for the shelf." It's that community is so starved for merchandise release in the first place. They're like, "Oh my god, they printed anything from Fallout on it. I need 11 million of them." And like,
Yeah.
you know. So, and again, kind of like what we were saying earlier, of like some of these older Final Fantasies have kind of the same thing of like, this might be the first time that a certain character from one of the older games or one of the less loved games has been on anything in many years. So I definitely know I definitely know a lot of people that do that, where they're like the collectors a bit, but that can also sometimes be a segue into them actually playing. But it depends.
Kess, your thoughts?
Yeah. So, because both questions, I guess for Jesse's question, and kind of was the beginning I was going to say to the original prompt was Magic. Talking to Magic designers, they've made a big adjustment, and this has been over the last 10 years of making it so that there's no longer cards in Magic packs for no one. That every card they print has a home for somewhere. And so where right now we're seeing, you know, a third of the slots being legendary creatures for commanders, previously those were like weird off the wall overcosted Johnny cards that actually got no play in any format ever, or 2/2 Goblin Pikers for 2 that like were okay and limited, but not even that exciting and limited, but you got it because you had to eat your vegetables, right? So like they've done a lot to like use every part of the buffalo, that's the sentence, the metaphor, to like make it so there's something there for everyone. But that doesn't mean that there's not all of the needed pieces of standard cards that need to be played in standard. It just means that the card that was for random format that doesn't exist, or like for someone to maybe figure out in super casual kitchen table, is now also a beloved commander card, or also a beloved this. I think at the same time they've gotten really good at designing legendary creatures for standard. I think like if a card is meant for commander, it's in the commander decks more often than not. If there is some text on it that is in the standard set, so I think the one that, you know, you choose a player and if you kill them you win, the very end of that is like very obviously meant for multiplayer formats. But it on the front end, it's also very playable in standard. Like nothing else about that card is not standard playable. But it might be costed so it's not standard playable because there's going to be other cards that are meant for standard, or it's costed in a way that because it's legendary, like legendary is a costed one. It's like one of the great ironies of commander versus regular Magic is legendary up until commander was actually a negative to be on a card. And that's why like stuff like Vendilion Click has legendary, because it's not because Vendilion Click is a legendary character, but because they designed a card that they realized they didn't want you to be able to cast 2 and to play it at the same time. And so I think they use that balancing act as well. I also think, and this is much more tin foil hat theory land, but I think they extended standard to be 3 years long because they realized that they're going to be pumping out a ton of universes beyond product within that moment. And in those sets, there's going to be a lot of legendary creatures, but as a percentage of the cards in standard right now, they're not that high. They're probably comparable to what they were when standard was 2 sets, 2 years a cycle. So I think like standard is bigger to withhold this many legendary creatures. I think legendaries in standard are worse. So I don't think standard gets more out of whack or too powerful because there's legendary creatures in it. It just, these cards aren't maybe as playable there, but there were a ton of, like, there's never been a Magic set in the history of Magic where every card was standard playable.
Right.
Now the ones that aren't playable are playable in Commander versus playable in a cardboard box on my shelf.
Yeah, perfectly fair points as well. I think well put, Kess. And Peachy, I think you touched on a great point about the universes beyond sets in regards to the collectability of them. It harkens back to some of these games that are built around IPs specifically. There were IPs first and then had their trading card games like Pokemon or like Lorcana, where there are people that will just collect the cards to look at or this is my favorite Disney movie, I'm going to collect all of the Lorcana cards from it, or I'm going to collect every printing of Charizard that there is. Magic has not had that. You are not going to find a player that says, I'm going to collect every Jace because I love every Jace. You're going to find a few of them, but they aren't going to be on the scale that you're going to get from you're not going to find them on the same scale that you will from a well-known IP. Even the One Piece card game, I know people that collect just their favorite characters or just the Straw Hats, right? Because it's their favorite anime, it's their favorite manga. They love it. And Magic has not had that. Now with Universes Beyond, Magic has that. You might love Legolas, so you're going to collect every Legolas related card from Lord of the Rings. You might love Final Fantasy VII, so you're going to collect every Final Fantasy VII card. Now, it is another vector for allowing people to enjoy their favorite games or their favorite IPs, and I think that it's exactly what Magic has been missing up until they started releasing these Universes Beyond sets, which is great. Right. Now, before we jump into our next question, I do want to let everybody know that we have hit $600 in terms of donations for the night. So thank you, everybody, for your incredible donations out there. This does mean that we are now giving away not one, not two, but 3 Commander Precons of the Final Fantasy Commander Precons. And we will be giving away a 4th for the night once we hit 650 in donations too. So do hit that command donate in chat and donate in $5 increments to be entered into the draw for tonight. We will be doing our Q&A in about a half hour as well. So as Chris has demonstrated in chat, do the ask a question point redemption in chat to highlight your question so that our panel here can answer your questions later tonight. All right. Thank you once again, everybody, for your generosity. The Trevor Project thanks you for your support. Now, next question, team. I wanted to get to... sorry, hit the wrong button. I wanted to get to the fact of the matter that the Final Fantasy set has been already touted as the best-selling set Magic has had. But one of the reasons for that might be that the cost of the set has increased pretty considerably here as well. So that can be factored into a lot of these materials as well. Play boosters, for instance, have gone up from about $5.50 up to $7 now, with collector boosters going from $25 up to $38. And the commander decks, which were previously $45, are now $70 each, which are some pretty significant pricing increases here. For a set that is supposed to on-ramp a lot of new players thanks to their love of the Final Fantasy set, is this a deterrent for them, increasing prices like this? Or are the players that love the Final Fantasy series going to buy this regardless? Because we know that the enfranchised Magic players are probably going to buy this regardless. All right. Kess, please.
There's a little pause that raised up. I do want to go, but I wasn't able to unraise this one from earlier. I don't know if that's
gotcha. That's what I was trying to look to do.
So, I have something to say, and also I tried turning it off and it didn't go away. For everyone on chat, there's secret pause that we get to raise our hand with. I'm blowing open the back doors of the stream. So it's hard, right? Because right now, not to be mildly political, but the cost of everything is going to go up, period, across the board, no matter what. And the stuff that's launching within the last month and within the next month is stuff that possibly hit at the worst possible moment 3 weeks ago. So if Wizards was making decision on what the costs are supposed to be in April, and they had to take that into account, I don't know how to judge what things should cost at this moment. At the same time, Final Fantasy was always going to be a more expensive set because licensing is involved, right? There is a percentage of every Universes Beyond pack that is now going to a different company that has to be added. And to kind of give a framework, right? Like most licensing agreements are somewhere between 10 and 15%. And then there's distributors, there's retailers, there's Wizards of the Coast themselves, there's factories, all in between that. And so without tariffs being a part of the conversation, already these things are going to be expensive. Lord of the Rings was more expensive than a regular set. I do think there's just some inflationary stuff. Like if you look at just the cost of a pack versus inflation versus time, that's going to happen. It sucks. I'm not like defending it, I guess, but it is something that like, I don't know. And I'm terrified of how expensive everything is about to become, because I know that like Walmart is raising their prices across the board by 30%. And they're the cheap guys. So I think like in some ways it's hard to point what's causing what here. And is this the norm? Is this the norm because of that? I don't know. I do think that it is both the best, and this is from conversation with distributors too, the best selling set in Magic history before the set has come out by volume, not just by dollars. And before it has come out, right? Like pre-orders are larger than Lord of the Rings total. And so that's wild, and means that what sucks is that if this was a decision made based on tariff costing, then it doesn't matter anymore. In the same way that stuff during COVID got more expensive, and then even though it was less expensive to make it, or shipping got less expensive after COVID, the prices didn't go back down. I'm worried that this is now the price of Magic, and that sucks. I think maybe there's some value with licensing and not licensing that will be adjusted, but I think like it's obviously doing very well. People are very excited by it. I think for the fans who love Final Fantasy, they want to buy it regardless. This set's going to ruin me, actually, personally.
You're going to be taking a small personal loan for this set.
Yeah, right.
I'm never going to financially recover from this.
The global warming is going to destroy every university in the country anyways. My kids don't need a college fund. It's fine.
Kess, that point of view from you being a business owner and a producer like yourself is exactly why we love having you on this roundtable. It's exactly that kind of insight. So thank you very much for that. Peachy, how do you feel about the increased cost of the set?
I mean, I'm not sure I have much to add besides just echoing kind of what Kess said of like, it sucks, but I get it. Like they knew coming out the gate that this set was going to be wildly, wildly popular. It is something that's so emotionally invested in. Like if you've played a video game, you've been influenced by Final Fantasy in some way. So like, I'm sure they knew that, and they had to, of course, account for all of the licensing and all of that stuff. And from what I've heard, also for each Final Fantasy game, each game has like its own team. That like the people who made 5, there's a team that is just the Final Fantasy 5 team that just exists. So like, from my understanding of how their licensing stuff works is like for each card that had like that was referencing like Final Fantasy 5, they had to talk to the Square Enix Final Fantasy 5 team to be like, does this pass the lore check for the Final Fantasy 5 stuff? And then they had to do that for every single game in the series, because the baseline of Final Fantasy is somewhere between 16 and 25 games, depending on how many you count. Like it's a lot. And they're all kind of their own separate. They're all under Square Enix and they're all the same IP, but they're all kind of their own thing. So I would imagine that the research and development costs for this set were probably really high. And I don't know if that's something that factors in to their pricing for like MSRP and all that stuff, but like, like to compare it to like another UB set, Fallout has again 4 to 5 games, because there's 1, 2, 3 New Vegas, 4 76
Tactics.
Fallout Shelter for Android and iOS. Anyone? Popular game. But like they, that's all the material they had to work with. Whereas for this, they had, like 20 different games that they had to do all this deep dive research stuff into. So I'd imagine that this set, took a lot of time to make. Probably had to do a whole lot more research, a whole lot more play testing, a whole lot more checking with Square Enix of, does this check out for this game and all that stuff. So I would wonder if that might be part of it too, and plus everything else that Kess said of like, tariffs, cost of everything, etc. All of that compounded with just how complex and how much they had to cover with this set, especially because it's also, not only is there, like 20 total different games, there's that plus the fact that it's standard and commander. So they had to take 20 games and then cram them down into these type of slots and then make them work for 2 different formats. I would imagine that R&D for this took a ton of, time and design power and a lot of stuff like that. So I would, that's my tinfoil hat thing, is that maybe that could be a part of why the set was like particularly more expensive. One, for IP reasons, and two, just because it's just such a huge world to try to cover. But yeah, plus one to Kess's points also.
Yeah. I think that's fair. The more hands a product passes through, the more expensive it gets. That's the golden rule. Kess.
I can confirm Peachy point on that. Each Final Fantasy has its own licensing team. I will also add that my understanding is that literally only 7, 14, and 16 had active ones that were actively doing licensing. Maybe 15, depending on how early this started. Like actually, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 now recently have re-gotten one due to the fact that the Pixel remaster came out and probably were built around the Final Fantasy set existing. Like this created that team, but I think they had to from the ground up build out a licensing approval system for most of these games, and each one is done on an individual basis.
And fun fact also, I want to say it was almost 2 years ago. I live in Seattle, which is near where Wizards of the Coast is, and they do some playtest and research studies for this third-party place here, and I'm on their list to do those, and it's a super fun time. So usually you go in, you sign a bunch of paperwork, and they tell you can't talk about any of this stuff until after the set is out, and also you can't, you get to play test Magic sets that are still in development. So I actually had the opportunity to play test the Final Fantasy set, but it was before Final Fantasy 16 had come out. So it was only the stuff prior to that, and that was 2 years ago, and there was so much of it was still just bare bones even at that time. And then 16 came out and they had to add a whole nother game, and I'm sure that stuff was still very much in its infancy at that point. So I got to see a little bit of a peek behind the curtain to see how long it's actually been churning.
I think that's a very interesting point, that this has been in development for so long that of course costs accrue over time too, so that could contribute to this as well. Jesse, what do you think about the increased pricing on the set?
I mean, you asked the question, would people still buy it? And I think this is the same vibe as Grand Theft Auto 6 saying, we could sell this for $100. And everyone's seeming really fine with that, even though I saw that and was like, what the hell are we doing? And it just goes to show you the power of fandom. People are willing to spend extra money if it's something they really love.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's very obvious people love it. And, the numbers show that. So, while I am always wishing that, the consumers were cut some slack on a lot of things, it's just very clear from a marketing standpoint that they saw the writing on the wall that this was going to sell well. And so they're like, well, we have to pay a bunch of people a bunch of money, so let's jack up the price a little bit. And that's what they've done.
Yeah, and I think your comparison to Grand Theft Auto, which is a 10+ year game at this point, people know if I shell out $100, this is a game that I'm going to play for 10 years at this point. With Magic, sure, standard lasts for 3 years, but these are cards that are going to be in your collection and playable forever. Being able to play with your favorite characters from your favorite games forever is something that people are going to pay for. Absolutely. Right. Jordynne, how do you feel about the increased costs of the set?
Yeah, I mean, anything that I was going to say, these 3 talented people, and I mean, also, of course, you as well, 4 talented people have brought up a really solid thing. My note was recession, baby. If you build it, the nerds will come. So it is a situation. One thing that I'm really interested in seeing is for the next non-Universes Beyond set, what the MSRP is going to look like. If they're going to just
this is the new normal,
just a little bit more, maybe they'll drop it a little bit more, but it'll be higher than it was previously. It's just well, Final Fantasy fans paid it, so that's a little tinfoil hatty, but it's I'm interested to see if you're willing to pay a little bit more.
I'm so fascinated to find out what they're charging for the space set coming out. I want to know so badly because like this conversation is a lot more like I don't know,
nuance.
Viable or like that data point is such an important feature to like what does this mean?
Yeah, my marketing degree is sitting like the Green Goblin in my closet right now, just being like,
Jesse.
It's actually a really good point about like nerd culture and going out and buying things and supporting that. Even though I'm not sure the veracity of it, and I'm assuming this is an apocryphal tale, but the last week there's been a lot of stuff coming out of EA about the idea of Dragon Age and what the executives thought of producing that. And one of the lines was that, like, nerds will eat it up, so just keep feeding them the slop. And so really what comes next is very important. Because if you don't create something awesome and you've jacked up the price point, when you move beyond Final Fantasy, you may shoot yourself in the foot here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is an opportunity for them to learn the wrong lessons from this, in that Final Fantasy sold at this price. Every set can sell at this price. That is what the board might be looking at here as they see the dollars roll in for this set. So just hope that we aren't at that precipice.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man and Marvel and like the weirdness around Marvel at the moment is like going to be a fascinating response. Now at the same time, the Secret Layers sold out gangbusters. I think I do think Aether Drift, which I think was relatively not as well received, did do worse. Murders at Carlin Manor last year, kind of the same deal. So I think Wizards is aware of what a like not popular set could look like, and the fact that Dragon Storm did so well is good because the lesson they could have learned there is like, oh, our own IP sucks, let's get rid of it.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Like, no, Bloomburrow and Dragon Storm, like our stuff is good, gimmick maybe not good. But I think us seeing the next few sets that come out with Avatar, Spider-Man, and also, to be honest, the not super magic-y space set is going to be an interesting 4 hits to see where they go. But then followed up with Lorwyn, so a big return, hopefully Kamigawa-esque in its popularity.
To their own wheelhouse, right? To their own IP. Yeah, I think it is going to be very interesting to see. For sure. I do want to say, folks, that we have hit $800 in donations. So thank you. We're going to be giving away 4 of the Final Fantasy Commander precons tonight, as well as an Infinite Tokens prize pack. So thank you for supporting the Trevor Project. Thank you for continuing to support us. We will be closing donations in about 20 minutes. So please get your donations in now. You can hit Command Donate in chat. Donate in $5 increments to be entered into the draw. Now, folks, we are going to be talking about some of our favorites here in a moment. So I hope you've got copious notes about this, because there are a lot of favorites in here. I know Jordynne's got that entire notepad filled with some of her favorites there. So let's get into some of our favorite cards in the set. What are some of the cards that you think are done really well? What are the cards that tickle that itch for you? Peachy, do you have any favorite cards in the set?
I've been playing in the early access event earlier today, and then of course I've looked through everything. But to me, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage of blindness that when I'm looking at like cards and characters and stuff, if it's not from something that I recognize, I have to kind of just evaluate it based on like just a Magic card. So that's been kind of nice to have just like an objective. Like I don't feel like there's any cards that I'm like I have to like this because it's my favorite thing, But I can't say exactly one specific favorite card, but just in general, I just kind of lump all the questions kind of all together. I really like equipments. I have a dog meat deck that is all equipment based, and I'm really excited to see good equipments and good equipment synergies. Like I said, Gilgamesh is really cool. There's all kinds of there's so many good equipment things in this set. I literally revamped my entire dog meat deck to cram a bunch of new Final Fantasy equipments and stuff in there. Let me look at my list and I'll get I'm terrible at card names. I'm always like, I put in an equipment and it does, so I'll get a more precise
Chris is a wizard.
Just in
He'll
general,
pull up the cards from the description.
Just in general, very excited to see all of the new equipment synergies and stuff. And it's Final Fantasy, of course. We had to have good equipments, good swords, good stuff like that. So that's been my favorite thing. And then we were just doing goodbye. We were just doing just favorite cards in general, or like art treatments and that kind of stuff too, or
let's go with favorite cards, favorite arts. Let's talk about some of our favorites.
Yeah, I am also dog meat with Buster Sword cosplaying as Zacian. That's exactly it. Dog meat is my favorite thing because he's dog with sword. The best trope in any game ever.
Yeah.
Dog with sword. But I like I said, I've been enjoying a lot of the equipment stuff, and as far as arts, the Amano arts are so I know we're all probably going to say the same thing, but God, I love them so much. They're so classic. At first I thought that they were going to be just like reused like key art, but there's some of the art that was like done it was Amano and the other who's the other artist name? I'm bad with names, but I was pleased to see that it wasn't entirely just like screenshots and stuff, or like things pulled from existing assets, that there was like new art that was added and all that stuff. Nomura, yes. So I was really pleased to see that there was like the Nomura like Sephiroth and all that stuff, and yeah, I like the special art treatments are really, really nice in this set. I'm a big fan of them.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Some of the full art, some of the special arts, some of the bonus sheet art to die for.
Very
absolutely cool. Absolutely. Jordynne, how about some of your favorite cards, some of your favorite arts?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, Peachy is correct. The Amano arts are incredible. I also, man, there's someone in the art direction team that really likes Kefka. I can tell because the Kefka cards are all bangers. There's not a single miss with that clown on it.
That funky little clown man.
That little weirdo. Oh, I love him. I was talking with some friends recently, and I was like, Kefka is who the Joker thinks that he is. But yeah, Poison the Water specifically is maybe one of my favorites with Kefka on it. There's something about it. It's got the juice. I don't know, JoJo Part 7 fan over here. I see that. I see the spiral. I'm like, that's good. That's good art. Esper Origins also really, like, art-wise tickled my fancy a lot. Just like really solid. Like, that's just beautiful. There's like the colors and like I love a good composition. Just good composition. In terms of actual card design, I basically have not read any of the text on any of the cards that are not white or black, because that's none of my business. So Braska's Final Aeon, my notes are literally just "my God" in all caps. I love I love making my opponents have no hands. It's the best feeling in the world. My pet deck is still my mono black Liliana deck, lovingly named Look Ma No Hand. And just there's a juice to it. That I also really liked the Darkness Crystal. Love some good sack outlets. I love to steal. And like that art and treatment and everything too, it's just beautiful. Steel Ball Run mentioned, yes, correct. I'm gonna say it, instant ramen, let's go. So camp, so cheesy. I couldn't. The pop off that happened on social media when this card came out was truly incredible. Just there's too many. I will cut it off there for a sake of time, but there's so much juice. I love it.
Fantastic. Yeah, so some amazing cards. I think Instant Ramen is one of those you got the real world in my fantasy card game cards that nobody had any issues with, right? Other people have been like, oh, that's too real. That's too close to real life. Instant Ramen, and everybody's like, yeah.
Let's go.
That's great. Absolutely fantastic. Jesse, how about you? Some of your favorite cards and favorite arts in the set.
First off, Jordynne out here stealing my Kefka stuff.
I'm sorry.
I'm obsessed with. You're absolutely correct. Someone clearly was a fan, and all of the art is absolutely spot on. I pulled out the Tragic Arrogance card because I think that is a perfect summary of the character, as just like, oh, this is how Kefka ends, and it's like even the title of the card, it's just brilliant. And so you definitely could make yourself a Kefka deck. There's even a Kefka's Tower. So you can go all in on Kefka if that's your vibe. But some of the art that I really enjoy is art that is very clever. One of the cards, Aerith Rescue Mission. That could be anything. But what they chose was the stairs and then cutaways of Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett. Like, that is, to me, a brilliantly designed card. Just visually amazing. And I think it's so well done. And then I also think that they did some really great things with the Final Fantasy 14 cards, where they clearly were like, okay, we have to do a lot of, there's a lot of characters and there's a lot of different heroes and things, and because you can be, whatever you want to be, we're going to make them the different hero cards, and that's fun. But they also added some really great tributes to the I'm going to spoil something. Final Fantasy 14 fans are absolutely crazy. Like, genuinely insane for the game fans. And including all the Scions of the Seventh Dawn as cards, it makes sense. Like, there are fans who are so excited about every single one of those characters, and to include all of them and to give them kind of like really great moments, even characters they didn't give a specific card for, like Minfilia is on the White Auracite card. And that scene is very important because it is connected to a bunch of other things in the game. And so having that there, you're like, oh, that's cool as hell. I know what that is. And even though Minfilia didn't get a card, great art, great card, great tribute, very cool. And then out of the blue, I'm being harassed on the internet because everyone thinks that my character is on a card. I don't know that that's true, but the card, Magic Card, it's a little Lalafell riding a card, and everyone's like, dude, that's your character. I'm like, guys, I'll let you think that. I'm not going to tell you no, but it's nice that card exists. And it's like a great tributes all around to all of these games. And I must stress, all of the, this Tara Branford mono art is just, it's new. I can't get over how beautiful some of this alt art is. Yeah. It's just fantastic. There's a Tella, one of the, I think it's Tella, is just so over that. There's so much going on in that. It's the most beautiful card I've seen. It's just an old man with a lot of clothes. And I love that kind of stuff. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the art. I think across the board, truly fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah, I think some of the bonus sheet art is the best they've done in a long time. Absolutely worthwhile. Being a Final Fantasy fan and pulling one of these cards from the bonus sheet out of the pack is magical Christmas land. Like, it is what will hook people into this game for sure.
There's a Cecil card I found that has, because the normal Cecil card is Dark Knight and then you flip over and it's Paladin. Yeah. But there's one where they're all on exactly one side and it's just gorgeous art. I'm like, how are they getting away with this? This is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed.
Absolutely fantastic. Kess, how about you? Some of your favorite cards, some of your favorite arts from the set?
Sure, yeah. So
he died.
Oh,
they took him out.
Yeah, okay, so
they got him.
I'm back. Okay, right. You're gonna kill me. All right. I have side buttons on my mouse, and if you accidentally click them, it ruins everything. Okay. They're little traps built in. I was so excited, blew away. So as far as like, I do want to call it, like, for the most part, so much of this set, every time I look at it, is so hard for me to evaluate as a Magic player because I just like love the concept of the cards. But from a gameplay only perspective, there's one card, Esper's Origins, which is like the Scry, Surveil 2, gain 2 life. If this spell was cast in your graveyard, you get a 4/4. Like, if that was just a regular Magic card, I would love that card a great deal and would be my favorite card in the set. Now, outside of that, I think just a lot of like the really resonant, how they took things that you wouldn't think they could take into Magic from Final Fantasy and they were able to pull off. Like, there's the obvious ones like Fire Magic, Ice Magic, Cure Magic, the like escalating way the spells. I've also loved the art, and any of the art that has VV on it I'm like adoring, but and Fire Magic has it, but so like the way that they escalate is really, really cool. I think also the like triple triad card and the way that they were able to like in any way evoke that game in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Whoever designed that card should have their name on the bottom next to the artist, because I don't know how you figured that out. That's like stellar. Overkill is so funny. Like the 999 negative 9999 removable spell. The fact that you can kill someone with a random rare from a commander deck from this year is funny too. But just like that's the type of stuff you can only do in Universes Beyond. In the same way that like Tragic Slip, the negative 13 damage and from Innistrad is something you can only do in an Innistrad world. I think like whenever they can lead into this stuff, it's amazing. And the last of this stuff is the battle menu card, which is like also
very cute.
So cute.
Yeah.
And Tara's on that card too. And then as far as like artwork goes, I mean, one of the things that I like love is that obviously Amano artwork is amazing and stunning, and it was kind of expected, but I wasn't necessarily fully expecting a lot of the other classic artists for Final Fantasy concept art to come on. Like the fact that Zidane got his Shuko Murasa artwork on the Ragavan promo, and like I've had this Final Fantasy 9 art book since like 2001, and like has all of those like original drawings. I don't know if I can get this in here without being blurry, of like the character concept artwork, and they use the literal Zidane artwork that's on his card as the scale character for every character that they designed in the entire set. So that artwork is like what they use to show you how tall things are and how they designed the entire world. And that's cool. And beyond that, like, every card with Vivi on it is amazing. The artwork's stunning. It's so cool seeing him being like represented in all these different ways. As everyone said, Kefka's artwork, I mean, just that all of the Kefka artwork. And that's what they like. The fact that the preview artwork with him dropping the what's it called into the water, I'm forgetting from the game, but it's like a random uncommon that no one cares about, but it's like the best artwork.
The fact that they used that as key art for all of their previews was great.
It's like an okay role playing uncommon, but it's like, look how beautiful that is. Some small throwaways like the memories returning with Squall kind of on the artwork, like the artwork for the promo version of the card has like a very, I want to say like Strixhaven a bonus sheet vibe to it that I really love. Keep going. The one which is also maybe a miss, though this one specifically is really great, is the Search for the Frozen Esper Nature's Claim is the only pixel card in the whole set. How did that happen? I mean, I need a playset of this card. I'm never going to cast another Nature's Claim in my life. I will, if someone plays it against me, I'll put this card in their sleeve for them and tell them they're doing it wrong. But like, why is this the only pixel art that we got? That's like my big complaint. On the opposite side of the spectrum, I think there's a lot of people who like are kind of down on the screenshotiness maybe of a lot of the bonus sheet art where it's like just scenes from the FMVs. And I just can't disagree with them more. Like the reward, I remember playing Final Fantasy 7, 6, 10, like all the PlayStation 1 era and Final Fantasy 10, so 7, 8, 9, 10. And my brother didn't really play them but loved the games because every time I earned a cutscene, like I was playing it to get this CGI moment that literally no one else was, like, that was so good that they founded a movie studio around making this type of animation that eventually bankrupted the company. But like these were so stellar, they're like ingrained into my brain. I hear Linkin Park play when I see the artwork.
I was just about to say you should get like +1/+1s if you pull out crawling as you play the card.
I'm so glad they're on Magic card. I'm like so happy they're here. I like, yes, it's a screenshot. Yes, it costs from an effort perspective, maybe minimal amounts of effort. It looks somewhat, but like good. That's what like that. I want the whole, and because we have the spectrum, right? If it was all that, sure, I understand where that would maybe be a complaint. But we have that. We have original artists. That's new artwork from concept artists for Final Fantasy. We have the original artwork from the concept artists for Final Fantasy. We have brand new illustrated artwork from beautiful artists across the board. So I think like, I don't know, every card I look at, I'm excited. This set's so pretty.
Amazing.
My little hand raise thing also is not working.
Yeah, the hand system is broken. Physical hands would be great.
I had one wish list thing that I wish it would have been a bonus sheet thing or some sort of an alt art for Lightning. with her art when they did the Louis Vuitton
Yes,
Yes.
as like a bonus sheet card for Lightning. She is she is hitting that shit. I would love that.
Jesse.
Yeah, there it is. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yes, look at her.
I just wanted to
Shut
bring
that
up, it was a
shit
card
on.
that was shown earlier, Random Encounter. I think not only is perfect art, perfect description, perfect, like, what it actually does, it is hilarious. Because, yeah, random encounters are like, yep, these three dudes are just hanging out together and they're going to attack you. Why are they together? Who knows? Doesn't matter. And then literally what you're doing is roughly the same. You're going to find three or whatever and throw them down and let's see. It's hilarious. I think it's such a great card. It's just the entire thing's filled with these really great moments that they perfectly captured.
Absolutely.
I have one more very quick.
Go ahead.
A basic land has never made me want to cry so much as the Final Fantasy 15 planes. The car on the road just like going up. I can hear Stand By Me playing. Like
Ooh.
like I didn't get my permission slip signed for the fields trip. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's.
Amazing. I absolutely echo everybody's love for the arts in this set, but I've got to say, as a Final Fantasy VII fan, I love the secret rendezvous alt art for all of the dates that Cloud gets to go on. Absolutely incredible. Those are so good, and also clever concealment.
I was just about to say that too.
Yeah, of Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith dressed up.
I like how they're all just like standing there.
Yeah,
it's so funny looking. Yeah, that's great.
It's so good. It's so good.
Got
and doing
my
this
foo up energy.
Yeah, they look like they're gonna ask me if I have games on my phone.
But having some of these moments, these like great gags and iconic moments out of the game represented as alt arts on precon cards, like cards in the Commander precons, is just a fantastic way to do it, and a fantastic way to just give that nod and a wink to the fans of these games that this set was all about. Absolutely. Love it.
I do wish there was more like Final Fantasy VII retro era blocky, or even Final Fantasy VIII.
Fists.
So like you're a really handsome guy, Squall, but it's just like a pixelated mess.
I was thinking about that too. Or you're the most handsome guy here. He's like 6 pixels.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
Moments like that absolutely make it for fans. Before we get into our
magic card,
before we make it to our very last question, I do want to remind the audience that we're going to be shutting down donations in just a moment. So it's your last chance to get donations in. It's also your last chance to get any Q&A in for our questions here. So please highlight that redemption, ask a question in chat right now. So last question that I have for the crew is, are we building anything? Are we building any new commander decks? Is there anything that we want to build for standard or modern where we see any of these cards to be playable? Kess, you mentioned Vivi.
This is the stack so far. Other cards are in the mail on their way.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to cut down half of it. I think it's 200 cards in my hand right now. I'm right now. I think of the characters. I'm like just like in the beginning, like and some of them are gonna be weird. Like I got the one Surge foil commander deck I pre-ordered was the Final Fantasy X one, which is my second favorite after 7 or after 9. And I might just keep it mostly as is. I did realize that like all of the girls that I had a crush on in middle school and high school are all in green, white, blue in this game. So I might just put the ones that aren't in that deck into the deck. We could deal with that. And I might add like, I think there's the Crab Rave. I forget what I have it in front of me. It's an enchantment that you can tap and untap someone for a blue mana that goes infinite with a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. Am I faster than the card on the screen? No, I missed. It's not. Oh, it's in a different pile.
Oh no.
It's somewhere on this desk. Oh no. That card. There
Crab
is a secret
Umbra,
layer of
I
it.
think you're
Common
talking
Ballot's
about.
artwork.
Freed from the Reel, Crab
from the-
Umbra, one of those.
From the Reel?
Yeah, free from the real. Is that it? But whatever, like in Magic would be joking as a crab red type of card, and the fact that Yuna dances and people die is a thing that happens in that deck is something that I very much love. And then a Squall would probably be the third one. I think like just he's really cool and maybe underrated. Yes, Free from the Real. So if you put Free from the Real on Yuna, she can tap for a mana. You can use that mana to untap with Freed from the Real, and the exact way her ability is worded, it's the next creature you cast gets the +1/+1 counters for every time you've made a mana, not the creature you use that mana on. And so it just builds infinite counters, and then you play a Walking Ballista or something big that can attack and is big and scary. So I'll probably make that. But then with like Renoa and Dagger and Yuna, and they'll all hang out.
Very cool. Great.
Yeah, those three.
Peachy, you mentioned that you're updating Dogmeat. Are you building anything new?
Yeah, so I did add a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff to Dogmeat, including Red 13, so I can have more dogs with swords in that deck. And it's been great. But I did build one deck from the new Final Fantasy stuff. Before the decks were revealed, I built a deck around Titus, and I lovingly refer to it as "What if Titus was evil?" Because the whole thing is just an infect proliferate machine, and it's really mean. But this is before the precon was revealed, and so it's just, you know, none of the new stuff is in it. But now I have the precon, so now I can take the list that I put together plus the precon and then make them twice as evil. And I've never had a proliferate deck because I'm trying to be a better person. I played Infect in Modern for the entire time, and it similar to your marketing degree, Jordynne, my Infect deck calls to me like the Green Goblin mask from my closet. But this, I'm dipping a toe back into it. I did in fact build a very mean Titus proliferate Infect deck, and it's been fun. Mean, but fun. So I'm gonna go back through that, take another pass, and then see what I want to keep from the precon. And Kess, I totally feel you on what you said about like taking stuff out of it, because I've always had that trouble when I have like a UB themed deck that I'm like, crap, if I take stuff out though to replace it with a good card, I'm replacing the flavor of the deck. And I had that with Dogmeat a lot too. I was like, no, but I have to keep this one land because it's a really cool reference to this one thing. No, I have to keep it even though it sucks. Like, it's so hard. But yeah, so I'm gonna do the Titus deck, and then I haven't done a lot of exploring for what the other possible deck building for new decks are. I'm somebody who keeps like 8 commander decks that are my precious babies, and I upgrade them over time, and they're carefully manicured, you know. So for me to build a new deck that enters like the rotation, it takes a lot of review. But that is all I have was Titus.
Awesome. Jesse, how about you? Are you building anything new?
Yeah, so I these days mostly play Magic for the goofs. So besides like wanting to desperately make a Kefka deck for actual playing, my real conundrum at the moment is making a Namazu Trader deck. Little catfish boys all the time. It seems absolutely insane, the entire premise of it. I don't know how I get it to work. It's probably going to be trash, but my objective is to find out a way to get this truly terrible like card going. I want this to happen. Nice. And so that's my dream, is to just start dropping these wide-eye catfish on people and see what I can do. That's all I want.
Amazing. Jordynne, how about you? Anything that would bring you back into building something new?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely my Lookma No Hands deck has a bunch of like now banned cards in it, and I've been looking at a couple of the mono black cards. But more than anything, I think this panel has made me look into building a Final Fantasy 14 account again.
Yes. Got another one.
I am not immune to propaganda.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. And look, that's the way that these universes beyond sets work. They either get people into Magic from these franchises or into these franchises from Magic. Just look at all the people in the Magic community that have said, I'm going back and I'm playing Final Fantasy now. I'm playing back through the games that I haven't played. Peachy said as much as well. I know that I'm loading up 7 for another playthrough on my Switch. So hell yeah, that's a mission accomplished from these for sure. All right. Well, that brings us to our Q&A, everyone. So we've got a couple of questions from the audience. We'll answer these questions, then we'll announce our winners for our prizes for tonight. We have $100 or $800 rather in donations for tonight. So again, thank you everybody for your generosity. Absolutely fantastic. So first question from Lightspeed Sloth. Have you played Jumpstart? And do you think that Jumpstart Final Fantasy would be another way to get some spotlight for these cards that didn't get a chance to shine? What do we think about that for a potential vector for new Final Fantasy cards? Kess.
I think we all said we want more was a universal sentence from all of us. And I think Jumpstart is like, as a product, the best onboarding way of playing sealed. Like like they got rid of sealed, like new beginner deck product basically for Jumpstart, right? It replaced that kind of that function in the Magic ecosystem. So just yes, please more Final Fantasy Magic, and Jumpstart is a great thing that they didn't do yet, so they could do that, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, I think having a Jumpstart pack themed after every game would be a great way to just give everything an equal spotlight there too. Should be great. Jesse, your thoughts?
I've
Final
never
Fantasy
jump started anything, so that's that would be I wish I could help you.
No, we'll have to get you some Jumpstart packs. It's a great quick format to jump into.
That'd be cool.
Peachy, how about you? You think a Final Fantasy Jumpstart would be a great way to get some more spotlight on these cards?
Yeah, I think it would, because it does feel kind of like the Final Fantasy stuff, kind of like I said earlier, is like, a really good set to bring in people to the format, and, just kind of drinking from the fire hose might be a bit if they're like, I don't really want to jump into building an entire 100-card commander deck or whatever. So Jumpstart is a nice low entry to like, here's kind of, it's a good teaching mechanism for like a, this is inexpensive. You can usually get a few packs, play a quick game to learn the basics and all that. So I think that would be a really good pair up. And I'm sure that there's a big basket of cards we wish could fit in the set, but we couldn't fit, that they would love to put on something. So I think it'd be a really good match.
Great. Jordynne, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everyone here. I also feel like potentially, especially if we do like themed packs, it could be a good way for the people who like genuinely are just there to collect, who are just like, all right, well, I only care about Final Fantasy VII. I am only buying Final Fantasy VII cards. Yeah. And it would be a good way for a like alternative to like the singles market, being able to just buy like the themed Jumpstart game packs.
Yeah.
TM Hasbro HD.
Yes.
So alternative to each pack being a Final Fantasy game, because I thought of this as we were talking, and you can have characters from all of them. But what if each one was a job?
Was a job?
And because like you'd multi-class jobs, it's like a thing you do in multiple Final Fantasies. So you would be like, I'm a blue mage bard, and then you can have them together, or I'm a red mage, black mage, like that. I think that's where. And then, like, you could have Amaranth because he's a monk, so he'll be in the monk packs, and that's a card that was missing. I think that's where I'm at. I think that's the best idea ever, and why it doesn't exist.
Love it.
It's the most representative of what Final Fantasy could be in a product. So
get Mr. of the Coast on the horn.
Yeah.
Please call me Wizards.
Of the Coast is my father.
Yeah, of the Coast is my father.
All right. Our last question from Cobear MTG. Is there a card anyone felt missed the mark? And what do you think could have been designed differently? Is there anything that jumps out to you as, hey, this was maybe not the best representation? Jesse, seems like you got an idea.
Yeah. Since I'm over here repping Final Fantasy VI, I'll say Locke Cole. As a character, is a treasure hunter. A thief who thinks he's a treasure hunter or says he's a treasure hunter at everyone. And the card, it's all right, but it doesn't necessarily capture what Locke is about. It's just kind of like, you know, it could have been anyone, really. And so I think that kind of missed the mark on capturing what the character is, considering so many of these other cards do it so well.
Did he get 3 cards or 2 cards?
Ooh, I don't know. I thought he only got 1.
No, he has a few. He has the uncommon that does damage, draw a card, discard a card. I think he has.
Okay. I have not seen this card yet. All right.
And then I think does he also have a bonus sheet one?
Wow.
I'm having to scroll all the way through Mythic Spoiler.
Yeah.
Bringer of Blueprints, the game. Fun fact, bonus fact. Yeah, and he had. Oh, no, that's Furion.
Yeah, some of these characters get spoiled with multiple iterations in here.
Yeah, I think I don't know if he has a bonus sheet one, and my eyes are now bleeding for looking at all this amazing overhaul ones, but he for sure has 2.
Great. This I had not seen that card, so that like makes me so happy because there are treasures that you're getting, and I was like, but Locke, the treasures. This actually makes perfect sense reading it. I'm like, oh, okay. So never mind. No complaints. We're good.
Anyone else with a card you think missed the mark in terms of translation? Kess?
I said it earlier, but I think Garnet not being Jeskai is a miss. Like, I think, like, especially because the summons are all in those colors, and that's a weird disconnect. And all of everyone but Quena in the cast of Final Fantasy IX is in blue, white, red. Even being in white, red, or blue, white would have made more sense, I think. And that's. I wish Steiner had partner with Vivi. I think that is also a miss, but just him. In the same way that there's a Rory and Amy Pond have, like, you could have 3 commanders in the command zone with the 2 of them, and they broke the rules just for that. I feel like is a thing they could have done, but those are my only big misses. Otherwise, I think everything's great. Nice.
Jordynne, Peachy, any stand out to you?
I wish that Belthier and Fran were smooching on the art of the card. Missed opportunity. Also, where he's standing is not my favorite spot. He could be standing elsewhere, and that art would be better.
You mean you don't like British Han Solo covering up sexy Chewbacca?
But I could have both. It's Pride Month. I'm bisexual. Give me both of them.
Amazing. Peachy, any thoughts from you? Anything else that could have been better represented?
I didn't come into this set with like a lot of like, oh my, you know, this thing has to have a card, or, you know, outside of any other things that we've already kind of talked about. So I kind of came in with a happy to be here kind of attitude of like, I'm going to see what it is, because it's like, you know, whatever gets included. But there wasn't really anything that I was like, you know, I will explode if this specific thing doesn't get a card. You know, I do wish that like Ferris and Lena, my pink girlies, got a little bit more, but you know, for all the reasons we've talked about before, we've already kind of gone over all of that. But yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, Cody is building up Balthier and Fran vehicles deck right now.
Hell yeah. I have another one that came to mind. The Vincent Valentine Lightning Greaves. Why they make his dogs look like that? I don't appreciate that.
I haven't seen the dogs. I gotta see these dogs.
They're like
Put the dogs on the big screen.
Yeah.
Chris, we demand dogs.
We got dogs.
While those are
show
working,
me a picture of this man's toes, please.
All right. Well, Chris is working on pulling this up. We'll give everybody a chance to once again say who they are and where we can find you before we announce our winners for the night, and then go raid our friend Kuro Hitsuki after this too. So do stick around. Jordynne, why don't we start with you? Why don't we remind everybody who you are and where we can find you?
Yeah, so I'm Jordynne. I make silly little jokes for LoadingReadyRun, mostly through text form, and occasionally you have to deal with my mug. I am, like I said, often at LoadingReadyRun, also at Sickly. The L is a 1 because someone keeps stealing Sickly proper, no matter how fast I go. And yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Kess, how about you let everybody know who you are and where we can find you?
Yeah, I'm Alex Kessler, Kess Wiley, Kess. You can find me at Kess Wiley. Basically on every platform. TikTok and Instagram are the best two places to come follow me. But also I make a bunch of board games. There's a company called Kess Ent or Kess Entertainment. Please check those out. If you are at a Barnes & Noble and see a Hunter x Hunter board game, we just launched it and it would be really cool if it did well. We'll also be at Gen Con. So if anyone's going to Gen Con or Vegas, I'll be at Vegas as well. And then you can find me on those places. And also just a big shout out to I think it's Nico the Worm is who did the artwork for all the cool cards you made of us, because that's really cool. I like that. That's over there. Everything is inverted, but I really appreciate it. And that was thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us, Kess. Peachy, why don't you remind everybody who you are and where we can find you?
Oh yeah, I am Peachy or PeachyPop cosplay. I can be found on. I have a similar thing with my username. People keep taking PeachyPop in some manner, so it's like I like PeachyPop_cos and all that stuff. It's all in my link tree. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. All kinds of various different places. Also, if you're wondering what I've been tootling with this whole time because I can't stand still, these are little woodcut little hero tokens that I made yesterday.
Nice.
And they're
So
very
cool.
cute. So that's what I've been sitting here tootling with. But they're so cute. Anyways, you can find me in all of those various internet places. You can also find me at MagicCon Vegas. On Saturday, I'm going to be one of the judges for the cosplay contest. Exciting. So I will be there doing that. And I'll be at the MidGo booth on Friday and Sunday periodically throughout Vegas. I will also be wearing a silly little white mage outfit along with Cody, who will be a black mage, but our robes are Doritos themed. Why?
Right.
Because it has possessed me to do so. We'll be around. I'll have a big old magic hat, and I'll also have I made a bunch of little friendship bracelets and cute little woodcut tokens. I got all kinds of fun little prizes and stuff. So if you find me, you can shake me down like a piñata, and I'll give you cool stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah. Outside of that, you can find me all over the internet.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Peachy. Really appreciate it. And lastly but not leastly, Jesse, why don't you remind everybody who you are and where we can find you?
Yeah, you can find me all over the internet, but more importantly at the Linktree/Jesse Cox. It's in there in chat. Man, it was great to be here and talk Final Fantasy and Magic, two things I love. So thanks for having me, and thank you to everyone who donated. Amazing work, everyone.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm excited that some very lucky people here are about to win some really awesome cards. So congrats, everyone, in advance.
Amazing. Thank you for your time, Jesse. Appreciate having you here. Absolutely fantastic. And I do want to shout out as well, Nico the Worm, the artist that did all of these incredible little character designs for us.
I love that. Yeah.
Fantastic work
So
here.
cute.
Yeah, absolutely great. So go look them up. They do some great work and do take commissions. So check them out. But yes, thank you for the incredible donations. We have managed to raise $800 for the Trevor Project tonight. Absolutely incredible. We are going to give away some prizes as well. So I want to congratulate, first of all, the winner of the Infinitokens prize pack, Kelzem, user Kelzem in the audience. Thank you very much. The first Final Fantasy Commander Precon is winner Lord Hosk. Congratulations, yeah. Lord Hosk. The second Final Fantasy Commander Precon is for PJ Martin. Congratulations, PJ Martin. The third Final Fantasy Precon goes to Leoj Pies. Congratulations, our friend Joel in chat. And the fourth Final Fantasy Commander Precon goes to user Post. Thank you all for your donations. We will be reaching out in an attempt to connect with you to send you your prizes. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you to the incredible panel for joining us here tonight. Really do appreciate everybody coming out. We will be having another roundtable for Edge of Eternities in July as well. So look forward to that. We'll be doing one of these just next month, believe it or not. So stay tuned for that. Once again, thank you everybody for donating tonight, for coming out tonight, for joining us tonight, including these incredible panelists. Be sure to look them up and do stick around because we'll be rating our friend Kuro Hitsuki right about now. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Get home safe.